Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Can't complain. I mean, I could complain, but I won't. I mean, I had fucking dentist this morning at 8. Then I had another appointment at the same dentist at fucking 2. And then I've been, from 3 o'clock, I've been doing phoners the whole day. So, you know, yeah. And I have a pizza on the table here that I had, like, I don't know, 2.5 hours ago, but I hadn't had any time to eat it, you know. So,
I feel terrible. I will not keep you too long then, and hopefully.
No, but you know what? That's okay because there's still, you know, after you, there's still quite a few.
Of course, it is such a busy period of time. We are a mere few days away from the release of your brand new album. So, aside from that, what's the feeling like in the Lordi camp overall right now? Are you all feeling quite good?
Well, I think. Well, I cannot talk with. I cannot speak for anybody else, but I'm feeling quite okay. But I'm also quite stressed, to be honest. To be completely honest, quite stressed. Don't have that much sleep.
Oh, really?
No, because I mean, I stress with my body. That's how I am. I don't stress with my brain. I stress with my body. And the thing is that right now we're 5 days away from the first show, and we're still, you know, working on the stage props and the stage production. And we had the first show on, you know, Friday.
Yes.
And we're still. But this is something that you would think that you get used to, because in the Lordi world, everything is always like to the last minute. You know, nothing is finished. You know, nicely. You know, before the tour. No, it's the last minute, and but it has been worse. It has been. We have tours that have been worse. Like I remember To Beast or Not To Beast tour, and I think it was 2013 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like 11 years ago or something. No, 12 years ago or something. We had the first gig of the tour in Hamburg, Germany, and I was still painting the stage prop something when our tour manager came and dude, the doors will open like any minute now. Dude, they're just holding the doors because of you are inside. Get the fuck up, you know, stop painting and go and get dressed and start your makeup. We cannot be late from the show start, because of curfew or something. So things have been even more pushing the envelope than now. So, so even, literally like 3 hours before the first show, I'm still, tweaking something. So, yeah.
Stress. But I mean, aside from the tour, because obviously that's such an important focus, when it comes to the album release, are you a bit more relaxed about that?
Yeah, I don't stress about that at all.
Good.
Ever since like everything went digital, and you cannot, and none of the like the sales, album charts, or none of that really matters anymore. Because it's all so relative to some blah blah and stuff. So I don't stress, and I'm not excited or anxious or anything, when the new album comes out. The new album comes out, then it's out. But before this whole crazy digitalization, I wasn't stressing, but I was like way more excited to wait the results. How did we do in the first week or something? Nowadays, it doesn't play any. It has no meaning anymore.
I do know what you mean. It's almost a little sad, really, because of course, it's still such a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean it should be, but because the world has changed so much, so it really doesn't anymore, because the whole world has fragmented into so little pieces now, and I mean because of digitalization, because of the internet, so it's not. There's so many truths out there of the same subject, so that's so cannot really stress about that, but of course, I mean, it cuts both ends of the spectrum of how you feel about it. I don't feel bad, but I don't feel excited either. It's like meh.
Well, let the fans, let the listeners get excited for you, because of course we are talking about Limited Edition, out March 21st via RPM. Please, Mr. Lordi, if you would, sum up what this new album says about Lordi as you stand here in 2025 in all your horrifying glory.
It says that we're still here, sorry, or you're welcome, depending on your taste. The funny thing about it's our 19th studio album, and it's like 20-something years since. I think 23 years since the first album now, and it's been 33 years since the band started, or I started the whole thing. I realized something now that I've started to notice that now, since we passed the 20-year milestone a few years ago, and now I noticed that when some media start writing about it, they are adding these adjectives before the band name, either iconic or legendary, which feels fucking cool. I'm like, how can you call it? Because we just started. But then again, if I think about Kiss, for example, in the early 90s, exactly, and they were definitely legendary and iconic already. And I think so. We are in the same time slot now in time, basically, where Kiss was during their revenge era. Or just on the verge of reunion then in '96. So time has a funny thing that it doesn't give you respect necessarily from somebody who hates you will hate you, but it brings you acceptance. The people who were, for years, there was, I hope they quit. We have laughed at this joke already, quit already, But then after 20 years, even those people are, okay, they're still here. I guess they won't quit. So you will get acceptance. You don't have to justify or explain your reason to be, to be there, anymore. And that's good. That's a good thing. I don't, you know what? I don't even remember what you asked. I'm just babbling.
You summed that up. No, I asked about what what the album says about you guys as you stand here.
Oh, there you go. That's what it is.
That.
So that was, that was sometimes, when you shot in the dark, take a shot in the dark, sometimes you hit something. So good. My babbling actually, it sounded very philosophical and very smart and clever what I answered. Well, even though I forgot the question in the midway of my babbling, but okay, cool.
Well, it is fascinating because you talk about the adjectives, talk about iconic, legendary, and you're absolutely right. But I think it's also worth saying and reminding people that those get attached to bands like yourself, also because of cultural impact, because of impact on the scene, whatever scene that might be. And I think it's really important that gets stated as well, because that is very much the case with Lordi. Impact over the years has been immense.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, but then again, when you are Lordi, you don't really see it that way, because you're still taking a shit every day. Take your dog for a walk and scratching your ass, and sometimes you need to take a shower when your ass is itching too much, and sometimes you have diarrhea. Sometimes you know what I mean.
Yes.
So it's like you don't really feel watching TV and eating chocolate. You don't really feel like that you made such an impact.
I think that is fair. Right, looking at Limited Edition, vision, specifically your vision when you first sort of started the writing creative process for this album. Did you have one?
Yeah, I had one, and I'm glad you used the word vision, because literally I had a vision of the influences or the inspiration for the album, but all of my influences now and inspirations were visual images in my head. I knew I wanted to do something like really 80s orientated again, because that's what we agreed on with the band, that let's do another album kind of like really hair metal 80s style, something. But all my ideas were visual, like Rubik's Cube, neon light bulb, and those like striped stripe lights and stuff like that, and Masters of the Universe TV commercials and Knight Rider and shit like that. So how the hell are you gonna make those visual images in your head into music and to lyrics? So that was there was a vision, but it's too bad it was just a vision because there was like nothing concrete. You know what I mean? Because like if I compare it to our previous album, Screenwriters Guild, where the idea lyrically and also sonically was to do every song is about like some horror movie or a movie at least. That was like really strict formula in a way. That it was easy to compose those things and and write the lyrics and everything. But this, when you only had visual things, when you are only thinking about the cover of Iron Maiden's Somewhere in Time, and you're thinking about like Masters of the Universe figures, how the hell are you going to put that in your music? That's like without doing Somewhere in Time, you know. So it's like so it was kind of it was a bit of a task, But then, in the end, I think it worked out well. So there's this loose theme of 80s TV ads, commercials, wrestling, toys, collectibles, action figures, and TV shows and shit. I think I mentioned TV shows 3 times now. But anyway, so that's the very loose theme of it.
But how do you can you narrow down or pinpoint the exact point where that initial vision, as you say, visual stuff starts to transform into, an album? The shape of it starts to come together.
Because I always write the music first, and then the lyrics after that. But I had them, like I said, and like you said, actually, the vision already. Then I just write. The music comes out of me, whatever happens to come out of me. That's the thing. So it really doesn't play that much part in the whatever theme I might have in mind. The music is what it is. It comes out. But it was a bit of a like trying to run in a swamp.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. At some because the music was like getting along fine, but the whole wrapping it up with lyrics, it was a bit more difficult this time because I really, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but it was really hard to get those images in my head into the lyrics and stuff like that. So I think it was maybe around, it started to take form around the time when the music pretty much was already done and written. And then hitting the lyrics. And this is of course before we started recording, because I'm talking about the writing process of it, and I mean, and I'm not saying that it was hard, because the thing is that this album was really easy to write. Yeah. And really, really, really natural, really organic. Everything just drew out, but. Yeah, the whole theme to put around it was a little bit not that easy. Yeah.
Well, speak to me then a little bit about the lyrics, Dan. Let's just use one track, for example, and tell me about the process behind, say, Collectible, that specific track, which is a personal favourite of mine.
Okay. Collectible is a song that was written by me and guitar player Kone. Mm-hmm. And we sat down and decided that let's try to do like an Alice Cooperish ballad. And which is funny because then some people, when they heard it now, they've been saying that it reminds them of Pink Floyd. Oh. I was like, okay, cool, but I didn't think of it, and I know that Connor didn't think of that. The lyric came a lot later, so it's like Child's Play, the movie from the 80s with Chucky, the killing doll, and then also a little bit of Annabelle and shit like that. So it's a horror story. Yep. But also there's another level to that, which is because I'm an obsessive collector of shit myself. I collect toys and shit and everything that says, if you put Kiss logo on it, or Muppet Show, or Star Wars, or E.T., or Gremlins, or Evil Dead, or or Nightmare on Elm Street, or Friday the 13th, I have to have it. Aliens, the list of Ghostbusters, I need to have it. So it's also a lyric from the other, from the point of view of the actual collectible, of the doll. In this case, it could be a fucking Kiss toothbrush or a whatever candle or whatever, whatever. But anyway, just about the obsessiveness of collecting for some people like myself, that you have to. It's a curse. You have to have the full set. You cannot just let it go. And especially, I've been a Kiss collector most of my life. Yeah. Not actively searching for stuff anymore. Thank God, because Gene Simmons got so much of my money already, and and it drove me crazy that there was a time, years of periods where every month I would go to the customs and get a package from the States. Wow. Where I ordered all the time, and that was just insane. But anyway, but it's just like from the point of view that it is a curse. You love it, but at the same time, it is a curse, and it's kind of like a disease that you have. That it's an addiction that you can't get rid of. That yep. You just can't let it go. And like I said, being a Kiss collector, it's not enough for you to get the Gene Simmons doll. No, you need to get all three of them.
Of course.
All four of them. You can, and the worst possible situation where you have Ace and you have Paul and you have Gene, but you're missing Peter, and that is it. Because that situation so many times. Because I know that in many of the cases when it comes to Kiss collectibles, they made a lot of Gene Simmons once, and then Catman, Peter Criss, or Eric Singer, but anyway, less. That is like because there are the ones who are buying them individually, they will buy the Gene doll, they will buy the Demon, and not the Catman. So then when they're out, and then you are trying to search for the final missing piece for that stupid doll collection.
It is the curse of the collector.
Yeah.
Do you you talked before, obviously, about the vision and, like, in regards to the art and what you were seeing as the imagery behind the album. So, of course, when it comes to designing the artwork, when it comes to thinking visual side of stuff, videos and stuff like that, do you still get a lot of creative pleasure from that side of things?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Fuck yeah. I get everything you see in Lordi is like most likely came from my little hands. Yep. Not everything. I have help. Thank God to all the people who are helping me and who want to be involved. Like the band we're very democratic, and I'm so blessed in a way that the band is so fucking skilled at the moment that they're I don't have to worry about them at all. I also have a lot of help, making the costumes and masks and shit, and it's I don't have to do everything alone anymore. But yeah, I do get my kicks out of making stuff. I'm a very creative and productive personality, and it's not a choice. I have to make this. It's something that I need to do. It's like breathing or taking a shit. You have to do it. You have to. I've been saying this quite a lot now but it's a good metaphor that I came up with. For me, creating is like taking a shit. It's not an option. It's not something you choose not to or to do or not to do. Yeah. It's something that you have to. You have to take a shit, every day, or maybe 2 days, depending on how you are. Some people take a shit 3 days times a day, and you have to get it out of your system. Otherwise, you'll get sick, and that's how it is with me. And yeah, it is very, very satisfying after you get something out of your system. When you're, it can be the best moment of your day when you take a good shit. So yeah. To answer your question, yeah, I'm really excited about all the different territories of this Lordi business. Making making the graphics, making the merch, making the album cover. Painting and all that shit. Yeah. Making the costumes and the mask, and especially making the songs. That I enjoy all of these, little categories there.
What limits your imagination? Do you have, is there anything that limits it aside from, say, financial limits?
Well, that wouldn't, financial things wouldn't limit my imagination. It would limit probably the realization of my imagination.
Yes.
But no. Well, I have a very dirty mind.
Okay.
So sometimes I would want to do graphically or lyrically something that you cannot say or do or show anymore in these fucking woke days, and I'm a very liberal person. I am, but sometimes it feels that even for the state of entertainment, that let's say our band, that is clearly entertainment. It's we are not preaching politics or religion. I think we are here to entertain. But I have to say that sometimes it feels that you cannot say anything anymore. You cannot do anything anymore. I mean, it's like pushing the envelope too far, and it's like. But I think, like in many cases, the artists are the ones who are supposed to be pushing the envelope a little bit too far. And it's all for good laughs, or enjoyment or entertainment, value. Whether it's a movie or musical or lyric or something. I mean, I think people are getting, their skins are getting too soft nowadays. It's like there are always people who get offended, and the worst ones are the ones who get offended for you, even though the ones who are like probably the real targets of the joke or whatever. They don't mind, but the people who are actually getting offended for them, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And so there are some limitations for my imagination. Like, for example, thinking about lyrics or graphic designs, when I would want to do something much harder, much more extreme. But already I have my sense, my common sense that okay, if I do this, there will be trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You recognize that.
But this is not the first time. I mean, this is not on now because already like 15 years ago, I guess it was when we had Babes for Breakfast out, and I wanted to have the album cover. I had the idea that the label said no, that's too much.
Oh.
That's too porny. That's too pornographic. You cannot do that. And it's like, come on. And there's been lyrics like. How to Slice a Whore, and which was actually just a line from the TV show Dexter.
Yeah.
And oh my God, some people got crazy with that. How the hell can you say that you can? Well, it's a line from a fucking TV show. We're a monster band. It's all about horror and violence. Come on, So yeah, there are certain limitations.
You feel that you've adapted as well as you can to the modern world, though, right?
Sorry, what?
Do you feel like you've adapted, even that you're well aware of these limitations?
Well, you kind of. I'm fighting against. I'm rioting against that. I'm trying not to adapt, but I kind of have to.
Yeah.
But I still mentally I live in the late '80s.
Yep.
And I'm fighting the windmills, and I'm a stubborn. I just turned 51. I'm stubborn. Middle-aged man, so I'm like I don't know. I'm one of those guys who was like everything was better before, and I truly believe that. When I was a kid, I hated those old fucking geezers who were like everything was better in the past. What are these kids nowadays listening to? What the fuck? And I was like, come on, get with the times, man. And now I realize that I'm one of those guys. I'm now one of those dudes who doesn't understand what I hear nowadays. What is popular in music. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It doesn't sound like Twisted Sister at all. So which means it sounds trappy. This is bullshit. What the fuck is this shit? And hey, where's my newspaper? Where's my printed? Well, Fangoria magazine. There's even a cry for Fangoria magazine on the album, or. I want my news printed, not on the screen on the phone. That's in my world. That's nerdy shit. That's like nerds, and the nerds get beaten up, and then 30 years later they become the millionaires.
Yes.
But anyway, But so that's pretty much, I'm of course I'm a little bit over exaggerating, but that's like the world where I am. That's where my mindset is. Like it's hard to adapt. It's kind of hard to adapt when you're realizing that you become your father. That you swore that'll never happen to you. When I played, like Wasp or Kiss or something in the car when you were a kid and your dad was driving you somewhere and your dad just put the C cassette, eject the C cassette and said, well, this bullshit, we won't be listening in this car ever again. Or, so I was like, God damn, I hate you. And I will never be, as old as you, mentally. And then you find yourself 40 years later, yes, you are. You became your father. Mm-hmm. And now at the same time you understand your dad much better.
Of course.
You understand it, like yeah. So if he was feeling the same way about the music I was listening to then, all the things that were happening around then in the with the kids, as I feel now when I look at the kids and what's going on, it's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
This is, what the fuck is this supposed to? This is not music.
It happens to us all, I'm afraid. But I guess then, we kind of just put something on, watch something, listen to something, like listen to Limited Edition and just go back to that time for a brief period, right?
Yeah. That's what it's for. Yeah.
It is out on March 21st. Mr. Lordi, we are out of time. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure, absolutely.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.